his eyes show me lies. The moon, glistening on a puddle of blood, crescent shape of a smiling, devious, evil god. The moon is bright, shines up the alleyway as the cries and whines and agony resounds through the alleyway. The wails of why are you doing this, reach no ears but the two. The man, now blood curling in his throat, is in utter agony and suffering as the blood pours out of him through several slash wounds. The attacker, licking the blood off of his blade, enjoying every second of it, watching all his suffering, and feeding off of it. His attacker knows exactly why and who, but dares not say a word, other than awful, awful laughter. No one hears it. No one is around. All are gone doing their own business, either asleep, at the pub, whichever. The man reaches out for the attacker, asks for help, for forgiveness, for whatever he might have done. He doesn't know that he is part of something more. With a swift movement, the arm is severed. The arm that was reaching for forgiveness, for hope, for salvation, is now on the floor, bleeding out. Another wail, cry from the man. There's too much blood outside of him than inside. He cannot take it anymore. He cannot survive. His eyes are fluttering shut. He is crying. He is in pain. He sees that dark, evil smile. Even though it's bright, darkness is consuming it. A void of space surrounding it. Two bright stars form above it to show the evil face of the desolate gods. More specifically, the single desolate god, awful being that allows this to happen. In fact, it forces it. He looks at the attacker. The same devious smile. That evil, awful grin. His eyes close. They flutter open again for a moment. He sees the lights nearby. The pub down the street. The street lamps. And then darkness. As he feels it goes straight through his chest. The cursed blade that he unfortunately met that night. He felt nothing more after that. He still felt all the wounds, but they weren't pain. He felt everything else. Everything. He was nothingness in a world of everything. And then it all came back. He felt all the pain. He felt the agony. He had his memory of the incident that just happened. And then his eyes opened. He is somewhere new. He reached out his arm to cover his eyes as the blinding light coming through a giant crack in the wall struck his eyes. He realized his arm was there again. Maybe it was all a dream, but why is there a crack in the wall? He tried to focus his eyes, but they were so discomforted. They felt like he hasn't opened his eyes in years. He tries to look around. The light is still too blinding, but he tries. When he finds that the place is just empty, void of any recent activity at all, no one has been around in years. He tries to speak and say, "What the hell?" But his throat is not used to speaking yet. And also, he says it in a language that he doesn't know, he doesn't recognize at all. Nothing that he has ever heard before, but he understood what he said. He knew that he said that in that language, but it was nothing he had ever known. He looked down at his body. All the wounds were gone. There was no scar on his arm of ever having it severed. No stitches, no nothing. His body felt a little weak, as it is when you work out far too much and you lay in bed and you just cannot move. Or you lay in bed for way too long, and all your muscles start to disappear. He tried to sit up, but the muscles weren't strong enough. He tried and tried, but he could not do it, and he fell back into the bed and laid there with his eyes closed. He eventually pulled the sheet up to cover the light, and he tried to roll off the bed, now realizing that he was in a bed. It was all subconscious movement at first, but he eventually got up. Well, got out of bed anyway. He was crawling on the ground because he could not move properly yet. The first thing that came to mind is, did I die? Is this the afterlife? If this is the afterlife, I must be in hell. Or whatever equivalent there is, because I am suffering. I still feel the wounds. My body, it hurts so much. He realizes again that he is thinking these thoughts in the language that he does not understand. Or, well, he doesn't know yet. He goes towards the crack, but then suddenly the whole building starts to shake. He immediately thinks, yep, this is hell. I'm about to go into hell, and I'm going to see that I am damned forever. He moves a bit closer to the crack. The building shakes more. He looks between the crack, trying to avoid the sun. He sees buildings high in the sky. He sees massive tarps. Massive structures to cover the land. But he also sees cracks in the world. The land below. He cannot see very clearly enough. He must get closer. The moment he gets closer, and closer, and closer to it, then he can see the ground below. He feels an uneasiness as the building starts to tilt ever so slightly. Just that bit off balance that you can feel it. When he gets right to the edge, the rumbling is all around. He can start to hear for some reason. He hadn't noticed that his ears were impaired, and he's starting to hear ringing as they're starting to come back to reality. But through that ringing, he can definitely hear the screams. Screams of those below. And also a whizzing, a buzzing. He looks out, and he sees vehicles flying into the sky, away from him. He doesn't know what is happening. Maybe he was put under and he is in the future now. Suddenly woke up from a 1,000-year coma or something. He doesn't understand. And honestly, he never will. He'll understand a bit, but not everything. I can assure you that now. He doesn't have enough time. He looks out, and he sees the cracks in the world. They're shifting. Earthquake. First thing that pops in his head is earthquake. But is this Earth? Can we really call it an earthquake? I mean, land is Earth. Shall we just call it that? Or Terra, which in the end just means Earth? Stupid thoughts that go through his head. Things of his normal life that he had just moments before he was slaughtered by a man. And now waking up in the bizarre world, he's confused and scared. He doesn't know what's happening, why he's here, or how to escape this new fate that is presented upon him. He was just pushed into a situation with no way out, and now he's pushed into another with no way out. He is several stories above the ground, so far that he can almost barely see the ground as is. Suddenly, the whizzing gets louder. A ship, right next to him. The window, or whatever you consider a window of a flying aircraft, pointed directly at the crack in the wall. He looks in, trying to see through the thick, dark, glassy, similar material. I don't even know what that material is. I don't think I ever will. Maybe the others will know, and I will learn from them. Enough of me, or my people. He looks in, and he sees something. They're not people. They are not humans. They are not the ones that he knows. He thinks these can't possibly be the evolution of man. These can't possibly be the next beings that are after us. Maybe the Earth was taken over by aliens. He doesn't know. He's scared. His mind is coming up with radical ideas because it's all it knows to do. He doesn't know, so his mind plays tricks on him. His mind is a devious place and he is scared because he is now confronted with a massive machine that is flying, hovering right next to him with beings that he does not know. Right there, staring back at him. But then he looks at their face. He sees surprise and fear. They do not have the facial expressions that a normal person would have, and they may appear humanoid, but they definitely show fear and surprise. They immediately blow a hole in the wall. A massive explosion in the wall. The sound resonates in his head, his ears popping. He's not used to this. His body isn't used to it. His body just woke up from a 1,000-year slumber. He covers his ears as they bleed, and he rolls away from it out of fear, and he curls up into the fetal position. He is extremely scared. He is stressed, and all he wants to do is to finally die. He just wants it to be over. One awful night when he went out and got snatched by a man, and now he's confronted with aliens. He doesn't fucking know what's happening. Would you know what to do? Would you be scared? Go for a stroll one night? Get stabbed? Repeatedly slashed all over your body? A limb cut off in an instant? And then you bleed out? A sadistic man laughs? And then you wake up in an abandoned building in a whole new world? Then it dawned on him, a whole new world. What if he's not on Earth? What if aliens took over and they took him? Maybe they pieced him back together. Maybe he was one of the chosen ones that they might want. Maybe he has some rare DNA or something. He doesn't know. His mind is racing. So much that he doesn't realize that they picked him up. They are grabbing him at that moment. They blew that hole in the wall, and as they did, they extended the bridge into the building. A few people came in, grabbed him, and are now pulling him into the ship. He starts to resist, scared. He doesn't know what to do, but they are stronger than him. They force him into that ship. And the moment that he is inside, the bridge retracts, and they start flying again. The raven's eyes have stopped. I will continue when they start again. Thank you for listening to me. I need to get it out. Get it out of me. Help me. Save me, please. Please save me. They are watching. They are waiting. Trust only in the raven's eyes.